Welcome to our webinar entitled Elevate Your English Language Proficiency, Unlock Your CEFR C2 Potential, brought to you by the English Language Teaching Centre Malaysia. I'm Miss Viloshina Rawandran, your moderator for today. Let's boost our language skills together. As Andreas Chandler rightly put it, a system is only as good as its teachers. In Malaysia's language education reform, English language teachers aim for CEFR C1. Guiding them, our lecturers and officers exceed this at CA2. Per our Surat Perkeliling Ikhtisas KPM Bilangan 1 tahun 2020. Thanks for being here and let's kickstart this webinar. As a key English language teaching trainer provider, ELTC supports educators in achieving the roadmap goals. The Pro-ELT Enhanced program aids teachers in reaching CEFR C1 proficiency. In 2023, we introduced the Pro-ELT Mastery program targeting a CEFR C2 level. Participants complete 130 hours over 3 months, including a 4-day face-to-face test preparation workshop led by ELTC trainers, culminating in a proficiency test on the 4th day. Now let's dive into this transformative journey. Today, get ready to be inspired by the incredible journeys of our mastery program success stories. They'll share valuable experiences, shedding light on the impactful benefits of the program. As we kick off the webinar, a quick reminder to our viewers at home. Feel free to engage with our panelists by sharing your questions in the chat box. We are very excited about your inquiries and look forward to an interactive session. Thank you. Now, before I introduce our panelists for today, first of all, a big congratulations to them on achieving a CEFR level of C2. Now, let me introduce our esteemed panelists for today's session. First, we have Dr. Shamsul Nizam bin Mohideen, a Principal Assistant Director at the Ministry of Education Malaysia. In his role, he oversees international linkages for all 28 teacher training institute campuses nationwide. Hello, Dr. Sam.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hi, Mr.
Hi.
Bill.
Hi, Doctor. How are you today?
Good. Yourself?
Good. Doing well so far. Nice to see you. All right, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us and congratulations once again. Next on our panel is Mr. Vijayan Periasamy, a lecturer and trainer at the Institute of Teacher Education, Tun Hussein on campus, Johor. Apart from his teaching role, Mr. Vijayan actively contributes to module development and generously provides pro bono consultation to non-governmental organizations in his field. Welcome aboard, Mr. Vijayan.
Hello. Hi, Miss
How are you? Hello. Hi, Mr. Vijayan. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
How are you doing? Good to hear that. How's your work going on? Fine?
Okay, fine.
Fine.
Busy
Okay.
as usual.
As usual. Okay, good to hear that, sir. Good to hear that. And thanks again for joining us. And congratulations once again on your CEFR C2.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation today.
Most welcome. Thank you. Okay. Last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Neil O'Brien, Anak Joseph, an academic lecturer at the Institute of Teacher Education, Tun Abdul Razak Campus, Kota Samarahan, Sarawak. With extensive experience in teaching at primary schools and holding significant roles in district education office, including a Facilinus post and a district English language officer post in Saratuk, Sarawak, Mr. Neil brings a wealth of knowledge to our discussion today. Welcome, Mr. Neil.
Well, thank you very much.
Good to have you here. Oh, we are more than welcome. We are more than happy to have you here. How are things over there in Sarawak?
It's good.
Oh,
thankful for that.
Nice to hear that. Welcome and congratulations on your CEFR C2.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Actually, we are very blessed today to have lecturers and educators from all around Malaysia. We have one person from the southern side, Johor, one person from the central side, Cyberjaya, and of course, one person all the way from Borneo, Mr. Neil. Welcome everyone, and thanks once again for joining us in this webinar. Now, my very first question is going to be for Dr. Sam. Dr. Sam, this question is a bit of an easy question. It's to lighten up the situation. Well, I'm sure before you joined our program, you would have had some expectations in regards to the program. What were they, and were they fulfilled?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Willow, for the question in terms of expectations. But before that, I would like to say thank you to ELTC for having me on the session, on the webinar session for this time around. Okay, in terms of expectation, of course, you know that when it comes to tests, when we were forced to take the test, the expectations is a mixed one. So prior to this, I've taken M.Ed CEFR readiness test, and the experience was not that good. So I was very worried, and I expect that I might not do well for this aptitude test this time around. So finger crossed, I was really hoping that I will do well. And by following the classes online, the one that ELTC have provided us, and also the coaching by ELTC officers as well as facilitators, I think the expectations were finally met and fulfilled. That's all from me, Ms. Willow.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sam. Good to hear that. How about you, Mr. Neil? Were your expectations fulfilled, and what were they? What were your expectations, and were they fulfilled? Mr. Neil?
Hi, thanks for having me here once again. It is an honor to be among experienced and excellent educators. As for my initial experience before the program, I did not think that I would achieve the C2 level. It felt unattainable despite my background in TESOL. I sat for IELTS 2 years ago and could only get Band 8, which is equivalent to C1. So I came in with no real hopes. But despite that, I was adamant on giving my best to ace the test. And it's fair to say that the results that I've got far exceeded my expectation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Neil. It's good to hear that your expectations were far exceeded. All right, now that we know what were some of your expectations regarding the program, now let's look into. Sorry, how about the module? What do you think about the module? Was it helpful to prepare you for the assessment? Let's start with Mr. Neil again. Was it helpful?
I've got to be honest here. I did not have the time to browse through all of the online module. In fact, I could only fulfill a certain part of it. I believe that it would have helped me with my test, but due to time constraints and workload, I could not utilize it to the max. However, from the limited time I had with the module, I found it to be very helpful. I strongly believe that mastering a language requires practice and a little bit of input, and the module played an important part in providing those aspects to me. So it was pretty helpful, despite I did not manage to go through it all.
All right. Okay, thank you. At least you tried some of it. You tried
Yes.
at least most of the part of the module was tried by you. Tried it out and it was
Yes.
good and it was helpful to you. It's good to hear that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Neil. How about you, Mr. Vijayan? Did you find the module to be useful and helpful for you?
Yes. Well, when I first enrolled for the course, and it was stated Pro ELT Enhanced Mastery. And prior to this, I have some knowledge about the Pro ELT courses. So I had this notion that this course was going to be related closely to the Pro ELT course. And true enough, the content in the online module was similar to the Pro ELT course, but there were definitely additional content, especially on the language content and also the language skills. But as as Mr. Neil mentioned, I also had issues completing all the activities. Nevertheless, I tried my best to do as many activities as possible, and I found that overall the online module was very useful, and the information was valuable, and it gave me all the exposure needed in preparing for the aptis test. So I do believe the online module prepared by ELTC has greatly enhanced my existing language skills. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Vijayan. It's actually good to know that the module helps the both of you in acquiring and improving your language and pushing yourselves to achieve the C1 CFR C2. It's good to hear that. Actually, we have two different modules. We have the Pro ELT Enhanced module, which is targeted at a C1 level, and the Pro ELT Mastery module, which is targeted at a C2 level. So the ones that we used were actually Pro ELT Mastery module. All right. So there were two programs actually. The CFR Pro ELT, Pro ELT Enhanced module as well as Pro ELT Mastery module. So there were two modules actually. All right. Now, Dr. Sam, as compared to our two panelists here, you are not directly involved in teaching students, but more with the admin side of it. So, from your perspective, how was the module helpful?
Okay, when you are preparing to sit for the test, it doesn't matter whether you are teaching or you are not teaching. Well, I believe all the teachers out there, they are as equally as when you are supposed to sit for a test, you will have the same feeling. You see, so in my context, even though I'm not teaching students at the moment, the module has helped me a lot in terms of preparing me for the strategies to be utilized for each section, because we have a different section on grammar and vocabulary, and then we have on listening, speaking, reading, and all. So I believe that after not been teaching for quite some time, I've not written any essay for a very long time. So to start again, to get me going in writing, in preparing answers for exam purposes, the module, especially the mastery and also the enhanced Pro ALT model, has helped me a lot during my preparation.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sam. It's actually good to know. I like a point that you just mentioned before. You said it doesn't matter whether you're teaching or not, your language proficiency matters. So it doesn't mean that just because you're teaching, your proficiency should be at a CFR C2. Even if you're in office, your proficiency matters. That's a very interesting point that you said, Doctor. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Even
Yes.
though you seldom use English in the office, yeah.
Yes, true. That's very true. Yes.
As compared to if you are a teacher in school.
Yes, true. Yes, so proficiency matters. Thanks a lot, Dr. Sam.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now that we have spoken about the module, how about sharing some of your experiences with the module itself, your personal experiences with the module? Mr. Vijayan, would you like to share some of your experiences with the module,
Yes,
with the
yes.
online module?
Online module. Okay. First of all, the online module was really easy to access, and it was well organized. The information on the ELTC website was well organized according to the 4 language skills and also the language content. On top of that, the notes and exercises provided were highly beneficial, because it provided targeted practice for the participants so that they will be able to face the questions during the aptis test. And also I found that the vocabulary and sentence structures used in the online module were all geared towards fulfilling the requirements of the aptis test. And I would have to say that that really helped me when I sat for the actual test. I was really able to score because of these exercises which I did in the online module. And I have to thank ELTC once more because they have come up with such a comprehensive module. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Vijay. It's actually quite interesting that you've mentioned how it was structured, how the structure helped you, and how the exercises helped you make. You know, they say the saying goes, practice makes perfect. So the more we practice, the more better our language will be. All right. Okay. Now, thank you, Mr. Vijay. Okay. Now let's move on to the exam preparation workshop. How did the face-to-face exam preparation workshop be beneficial to all of you? Would you like to share something, Mr. Neil?
Yeah, I found the workshop to be incredibly beneficial. If I were to venture a guess, all of the test takers are at C1 level, B2 level, because that is the type of language, the level of language that we use in our daily life. During the workshop itself, the instructor showed us what made the C2 answers C2. So we analyze the different multiple elements of the answers and breaking them down into several parts. In my opinion, those types of activities pushed me towards C2 as it actually forced me to compare them with my typical types of answers. If it weren't for those activities conducted by our instructor, I highly doubt that I would get the C2. And then it came to me after the workshop, or even during the workshop itself, I would need to actually elevate certain parts of my language. So I work on improving my vocabulary repertoire. That's it for me.
Answers. Okay, thank you, Mr. Neil. It's actually good to know how you compared your answers with the answers that were provided, a sample answer to elevate your language proficiency and improve it. That's actually a very good suggestion. How about you, Dr. Sam? How did you find the test preparation workshop to be?
Well, as for me, I totally depended on the workshop on the 3 days course given by ELTC because I did not have the chance to do any prior preparation before the test. So what I did was I just attended the course, the workshop, and during the workshop, I make sure that I really focus on whatever the facilitator has to say, and I am actually very blessed to have the very resourceful and also very helpful facilitators from ELTC, which guided me throughout the way. And also, I had the chance to try and experience the test from other websites as well, and all the activities that they have provided. So, what I can say is that I believe that my result, me getting C2, is actually totally. I give it back to the two mentors that I had from the workshop because I do not have any prior preparation, or I did not we do not know what would be the best strategy to score in each section. You see, for listening test, and then you have the speaking test. I believe that because it is an aptitude test, so I try to imitate like the Mat Saleh, we try to speak like the London people. So with the right coaching and the right mentoring from the facilitators during the workshop, it was very helpful, and thank God I managed to pass with C2 for the test.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sam. Not only passed, you passed with flying colors. That's very good.
Unexpected, Ms. Willow.
Oh, okay. All right. And I'm sure both your mentors are very proud of you and they're more than
Yes.
happy to help you again.
We'll
All right.
mention their names later so that the
Oh, yes, please
teachers
do.
can also
I'll contact them.
contact them.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sam. All right. Okay. now that we have looked at the workshop and then we have looked at the online module, I'm sure as adult learners, right, we also have got our secrets or suggestions or strategies of like what we would say tips on how we can ace the test. Are there any tips that you would like to share, Mr. Vijayan? Tips or secret strategies for you to do for the fellow educators to do well in the test?
Okay, yeah, thanks. Um, I think the workshop itself is a strategy, really. If we were just working on the online modules, it may not have been enough, really. But when we went for the face-to-face workshop, which I really appreciated, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the two facilitators who were at ELTC, because they really managed to sort of give us as much exposure as possible regarding the aptis test. Like in my own case, I have been always looking at M.Ed, and I have taken M.Ed twice. So when I came for the aptis test, I was a bit lost, really. But after going for the workshop, it was really an opportunity for us, the participants, to ask the questions and clarify any doubts. And one of the strategies that I think, which was carried out during the workshop, was to look at sample questions and do practical work by producing responses for the sample questions. And after that, there was constructive feedback from the facilitators, which was very effective, because now we can actually see what we have produced and what was the actual response, which will give you a C1 or a C2. And we realized, where the gap was, and that was one of the strategies. The other strategy, my own personal strategy, was actually to list down, I think, about 50 to 60 words, which were considered as C2, or minimum C1 or C2 vocabulary, which I then memorized some of it. And after that, during the actual aptis test, I was able to use those words that I could still remember. And I think that really helped a lot, especially for the writing component, because I scored almost full marks for the writing component. And I think one of the reasons was this, because we could actually see, especially the sentence structures. So the facilitators really did a good job in exposing us to the kind of sentence structures that will give us a C1 or a C2. And I think that these are the two strategies. So one is in the workshop itself, looking at sample answers, and secondly, the participants, like in my case, I memorized some of this vocabulary which we don't usually use on a day-to-day basis, but then for the purpose of this of the aptis test, I think we have to memorize some of these words. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vijay. Thank you, Mr. Vijay. It's actually very interesting to know that the words or the vocabulary that would help us get a C1 or a C2 are the how do I say this, low frequency words. And actually, I like your point very much, where I heard that you shared the document with for your fellow lecturers to help them also acquire a C2. So that's actually a very important point. You shared it and you came up with a vocabulary list, a low frequency word vocabulary list that would help us achieve a CEFR C2. That's very good. Thank you. And I also like another point of yours, Mr. Vijayan, the one where you said where the face-to-face session helped you. I think no matter what, we are a bit old school. Face-to-face sessions are is still crucial and
Oh,
important to us.
yes, definitely,
Yes,
definitely.
yes. It's no longer like everything is online. It's quite, maybe we are old
Yeah,
school and we still prefer face-to-face sessions. All of us, I'm sure we are on the same boat. Nothing like face-to-face sessions. Yes.
true,
Yes,
true.
thank you. True.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mr. Vijayan. How about
thanks.
you, Mr. Neil? Thank you, sir. How about you, Mr. Neil? Would you like to add something?
I personally just analyze the answers given because I tend to see the differences, the gap,
Mm-hmm.
what I should be able to do in order to get a C2. Apart from that,
Yes.
my usual practice is just listen to plenty of podcasts of
Oh,
various genres that interest me. So I had fun learning actually, and that to me is very important.
yes, true. Okay. Thanks a lot, Mr. Neil. It's very interesting to know like that how you use podcasts to help you achieve, I presume, for your speaking skill, right, Mr. Neil?
Yes, both speaking and listening.
Oh, that's very. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you. Yes, when you listen to podcasts, you actually listen and you familiarize yourself with the British English, as British English is different from American English. So listening to
Yes,
podcasts actually helps
with
you.
different accents as well as
Oh,
we
yes.
probably have had during the aptitude test.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you. Yeah, it's very true. The different accents, right? It actually contributes to your listening skill. How much we can listen, and actually, listening is one thing. Understanding of it is totally a different thing.
Exactly. And not
Yes.
only the accent, actually the speed.
Oh, yeah, that's very
Because
true.
for C2 we must be able to listen to the any type of content at the native speed.
Yes.
So how it's being spoken by native
True.
speakers. So yeah,
Yes.
I think it helped me a lot, and I would really encourage everyone to start listening to podcasts, whatever that fills your boat or your cup of tea, for example. Just go for it. Listen, have fun,
Yes.
explore.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Thanks a lot for the suggestion, Mr. Neil. Thank you, Mr. Neil. All right. Now that we have looked at the module, we have looked at the test preparation workshop, what is left is the test itself. Now, let's briefly recapture the moments of us sitting for the test this year. The EPTIS advanced tests underwent a slight change this year in terms of the software that was used. They used the Test Reach app this year, but which wasn't previously used, right? Okay, I believe the changes came with, of course, challenges. Dr. Sam, what were some of the
Yeah.
challenges that you faced while sitting for the test, and how did you overcome them?
The first challenge is, of course, to wake up on the morning itself, lah, to go to the test center.
Right?
All right, it's just a joke. Okay, the challenges would be, you see, because we are doing this, I mean, we did this test with a computer in front of us.
All right.
So we are dealing with technology. So one of my worry during the test was connectivity, whether the
Okay.
internet will be there, whether it is stable or not. That was the first concern. And then the second concern would be in terms of whether I am going to be successful or not in sitting down for 3 hours taking the test. You see, for us, especially for men, for boys, for male lecturers or teachers, I believe that it's very hard for us to sit down 3 hours staring at the computer for
Yes.
test purposes. But if you sit down for 3 hours for Netflix, it's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is an issue because you have to train yourself to sit down and to think fast because you have a certain amount of time that you need to finish a certain section. And
True.
in between the section, you need to go, maybe you need to go to the toilet. You need to, maybe you are hungry in between the session and
Yes.
all.
Yes.
So I think for me, my challenge during the test was me, myself, and I. You see, to bring myself to sit down and to to sit and to try the best that I could on that day itself. So having said that, anyway, I concur with Neil and also Vijay. Prior to the D day or the test day, right? Because of the online module and because of the amount of training that we had before sitting down for the test, I believe that helped us to motivate us and also to prepare us for the test because it is a mind game for me. Not so much of
Not.
the proficiency issues, but it is a mind game whether I am able to do this. And for us in IPG, for us in Institute of Teacher Education, lecturers must attain C2. So I think for teachers out there, you are a bit lucky because you only have to aim for C1. So C2 is something like near native kind of proficiency. So what I can say is that on the day of the test itself, you just enjoy yourself and follow the flow. Yeah, back to you. No.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sam. That's very true. Very, very true, actually. And then I like his point also, where you have to sit for 3 long hours. It's actually not easy at all, especially for us teachers and educators. We are not used to being seated at all. We have to move around. So for 3 hours, it's like actually undergoing torture. For 3 hours, you're seated in one place and then looking at the screen, which is also very difficult. But we somehow or rather endured it. And again, you all managed to get a CFR C2, which is very good actually. All right. Okay, how about thank you, Dr. Sam. Thank you. All right. Okay, how about you, Mr. Vijayan? How did you find it?
Hi. Well, I think as Dr. Sam mentioned, sitting for an online test for a couple of hours is not easy. And my experience with M.Ed and CFR readiness was slightly better because, yeah, it's face to face and there's not much technology involved. But when I found out that the entire ELTC test is going to be online, the first thing was for me was also the connectivity issue because I know if something goes wrong with the internet or the Wi-Fi, then it's going to be a problem. And then secondly, there it's going to be like online, and if I had a question or if I had something to clarify, there was nobody there to be to talk to or to call. So there was another issue because it's all going to be online. And but end of the day, I think the venue, the computer lab at ELTC was very conducive. So everything went on smoothly in terms of technology. I think we had almost no issues with the technology, and therefore it was just the actual test. And for me, as Dr. Sam mentioned, I just wanted to complete the test as soon as possible. So I think especially for the reading component, I was very fast, and I ended up with extra time. Actually, I had extra time because I really did it quite quickly. But anyway, from previous experience, I also knew that I need to, for myself, I need to focus on the writing component. So I really spent a lot of time on the writing component. My suggestion is, this is why for the participants, they really have to plan out their time, and most importantly, just relax and you know don't think so much about the technology. How the technology is going to affect you, because I think if the test center can provide all the facilities, then it shouldn't be a huge problem. Otherwise, it was basically just time, managing time, and making sure that we answer all the questions, and we just have to be patient. It's a very long process. It's about 3 hours, but I think it's not that difficult. Even though I think at our age, probably we are a little bit, we have some phobia with technology, but otherwise, I think it was all right. Yeah, thank
We are
you.
still young, Mr. Vijayan.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think at the mere mention of the word technology, all of us get a phobia. But when it, like what Dr. But again, when like what Dr. Sam said just now, we just watching Netflix, no phobia at all. But when it comes to sitting for the test, the phobia goes from a level of 0 to 100. All right, okay. And speaking of technology, we ourselves, sorry to say, at this part of the country, we fear it. How about you, Mr. Neil? How was it over there in Sarawak? How was the connectivity? How did you feel?
At first, I was quite nervous as well, but we were fortunate because we went to IPJ campus Patulintang and they had great facilities over there. So
All
we are
right.
thankful for that. But On contrary to both Dr. Sam and Mr. Vijayan, I had my problem was more to the technical side of test reach, the
All
app
right.
itself. So I got kicked out of the system several times because of some glitches with the existing softwares that I had in my laptop. So nervousness, well, everyone got nervous when they had to sit for exam, isn't it? That coupled with the system errors did not bode well, but I'm grateful that I managed to push through. And actually, I would like to highlight the fact that during, especially for my paper, during my test, the last part of the writing test was writing an email, and it was about writing an email to complain about something. So, as you can imagine, it actually aligned well with my emotion during that time. I was frustrated, so I vented my frustration onto the email. I poured all of my emotions there, and I believe whoever the marker was, they could feel it. It was a sincere emotion, a raw emotion that they could feel, I guess. But all jokes aside, I would like to say to the candidates is that it is very important for you to stay calm and believe in yourself, particularly in the face of adversity. So there will be something that we did not take into account. It's normal. It happens, but you have to trust in all the hard works that you put in. Have faith,
True.
and you can power through anything.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Neil. I like how you put it. You made it sound very positive, even though there was like mishaps in regards to answering the test questions at first. I like how you actually turned it and made being the optimistic you tried to look at it from the positive side, and it helped you actually get through your writing. What did you
Yeah,
get for your writing? What did you get for your writing actually, Mr. Neil? A C2?
50 out of 50.
Wow, see perfect. See how the build up helped it? So
Exactly, exactly,
Awesome.
awesome, yes. We all need that push, I think.
exactly.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Neil. All right. Okay. Now, we are almost reaching the end of our webinar, but before we bid our farewells, are there any final words that you would like to share with our audience, or are there any things that you would like to add on, or maybe give them some tips, another tip actually on how they can achieve their much desired CFR C2 or C1? Shall we start with Mr. Vijayan? Any tips, Mr. Vijayan, or any last
Yeah,
say?
yeah. Thanks,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Vilo. I think the online module and the face-to-face workshop conducted by ELTC is very important, and all participants must take part. And if possible, they have to do as many exercises as possible on the using the online module, and pay a lot of attention during the face-to-face workshop. So the facilitators are really great, and they gave us valuable guidance and explanations, which really helped us in the actual APTIS test. My only suggestion is for ALTC for the future, if possible, participants who come for the course can be given a pre-test or a mock APTIS test just before the face-to-face workshop starts, and this will help the participants to see their own takeoff value, meaning where are they at just before attending the workshop, and subsequently they will work towards improving their scores during the workshop, and hopefully uh, they will get a C1 or a C2 uh, per requirement lah, for their, if they are a teacher, then it will be a C1. Lecturers will have to get a C2. So that's about it, and I would really like to thank the ELTC lecturers and staff for helping us to gain this C2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vijayan. Thanks a lot, Mr. Vijayan. And it's actually, I like your suggestion very much. Like, you give them a test to see where they are at and what they should work on. Maybe by doing the test, the participants would be able to identify which particular skill they are weak at or where they should improve on. Actually, that's a very good suggestion, and we will take that into consideration. Thanks a lot, Mr. Vijayan. How
Welcome.
about you, Mr. Neil? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vijayan. How about you, Mr. Neil? Would you like to add something? Any final say or final words?
Yeah, I would like to convey my gratitude to my instructor, Madam Hani from ELTC, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yes.
Once again, and as you may have noticed, I am actually hugely indebted to her for her guidance and assistance throughout the workshop. And as for the suggestion, I would like to suggest to put forward an idea of providing the simple answers of what C2 answers should be like, because it will actually break down the multiple goals into a more attainable ones if compared to the descriptors of the CEFR C2. And for future candidates and test takers, you can do it. You can do this. So make full use of the online module. Have someone to give you feedbacks on your speaking, on your writing, and most importantly, act on them. So, and for those who know me, it's fine. You may reach out to me if you need any assistance. I'm more than happy to help. And I believe
Right.
that goes same too to Dr. Sam and Mr. Vijayan.
Okay. Yes. Thanks a lot, Mr. Neil. And
Yep.
thanks for making yourself available for those who need help. That's very nice of you to say that. I also like another point that you mentioned where we should give them some sample answers so they will know where they should improve or they'll have like a guidance like. That's a very good idea as well. Thanks a
Mhm.
lot, Mr. Neil.
Thank
And
you.
last, yeah, well, thanks a lot. Thank you. Last but not least, Dr. Sam, would you like to share some things before we leave?
All right, Miss Willow, Mr. Vijayan, and Mr. Neil. It's been an honor to be with you guys today. And for the last few words that I have, maybe not few words, maybe few sentences here, Miss Willow.
Okay, no problem at all.
Make sure it is a complex sentence. That's what Dr. Mimi always tell me. Complex sentences.
Complex. Yes.
Uh, all right. So anyway, for teachers out there, for educators out there, get to know the test. What is FTs all about? Before going for the test, you need to know what it is. Get to know how the marking scheme is, how the scoring rubrics are. You know, all this you will learn from the workshop, from the trainers that will help you along the way. And believe me, it is not a lonely process. It is not a lonely experience. You can't do it by yourself, sit down and just memorize everything, you know, because it is a language skill. So I believe
Yes.
our teachers have certain level of proficiency, and they are all actually can attain C1 or C2, depending on the word that Neil used in the beginning is now the word adamant. How adamant you are, you
Yes.
know, to get
Yeah.
to what you want. So we were lucky. I was lucky because I had the training from ELTC. The two trainers that I had were wonderful, Dr. Zubaida and Dr. Mimi. Maybe you guys can contact them later if you want personal training from them. And I also get support from my friends, from my colleagues who are sitting down for the test together with me at that time. You see, maybe as usual, you know, teachers, we like to have a lot of a WhatsApp group within a WhatsApp group. That's our culture, right? So if you see, we need all kind of support, and besides the module, besides the face-to-face workshop, support from our friends is also one way of motivating factor for us to propel in this test. So I believe that it all comes back to you yourself. If
True.
you want it, you can achieve it.
Yes.
So all the best to all teachers out there.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sam. There's a saying that says there's a saying that goes where there is a will, there is a way. So the will is very important and the will has to be strong. And what is the will? The will is to attain a CEFR C2 or C1. And thanks once again to all our panelists. And congratulations on achieving the CEFR C2. And also remember, if you ever have any doubts, you can contact any one of them as they volunteered themselves, or you can get in touch with us in ELTC as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for spending your time with us in this webinar. We hope that the ideas and experiences shared by our panel speakers are beneficial to you. Till we meet again next time, remember before we leave, if you do have any questions or anything to ask us, post your questions in the chat box and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Till we meet again next time, take care and stay safe. Thank you.